Last year, 257,000 British citizens left the UK. This is 3 times what the Office for National Statistics had predicted. And to make matters worse, 16,500 millionaires left the UK. That's the largest wealth exodus of any country in the world. Everyone's talking about the super rich leaving the UK. And I actually think it's a lot deeper than that, because we are seeing doctors, nurses, teachers, consultants, software engineers leaving the UK for greener pastures. This is a brain drain, and it's not just billionaires moving their family offices to Monaco. Now, it's no secret that from the looks of things, this government seems to be punishing hard work and ambition. But let's take a closer look at the situation in the UK right now, and why those leaving may be onto something. The economic outlook for the UK next year is pretty lukewarm. GDP growth for next year is just around 1 to 1.4%, depending on what source you're looking at. Consumer spending is relatively sluggish, and business investment is weak. Unemployment rate continues to rise, and general household sentiment and confidence is negative. We are paying the highest level of taxation since World War II. The NHS is struggling with capacity, and the waiting list just topped 7.4 million people as of late 2025. So you are essentially paying more, but you're likely getting less because the cost of living crisis continues. Yes, inflation has come down from the peak levels we saw a few years ago, but it's not like prices have actually fallen. They're just rising at a slower pace. And for many families, especially middle and low income households, the squeeze just continues. The narrative in Parliament is all about fairness, but the truth is, we are witnessing the systematic squeezing of the most economically productive demographic in the UK, the upwardly mobile professional class. Now, we have a weird obsession with the word rich. To the average voter, rich is a businessman or a politician who owns a house with a pool. But to the taxman, rich is a junior consultant living in a flat share in Clapham who just got a pay bump to £75,000. The November budget confirmed what many of us had feared. This government sees business owners and the productive middle group as a piggy bank, and they have expressed this not least by freezing the tax threshold until 2031, meaning that more and more people are being dragged into higher tax brackets without earning any more in real terms. The government also abolished the non-dom status, which is a special tax treatment or arrangement that lets wealthy foreign residents keep overseas income away from the UK tax system. This is what happens when you treat wealth creators as the enemy. They leave and they take their money with them. And now that the wealthy are leaving the UK, HMRC is not chasing them. They are hiring more people, deploying AI, and they are increasingly monitoring to ensure that they squeeze every last pound out of you that they are legally allowed to do. Middle to high income earners are probably getting hit harder than anyone else with this budget. Why? Because the truly wealthy, the billionaires, the multi-generational wealthy families have options. They've got complex offshore structures and very skilled professionals to keep their wealth intact. It is small businesses, sole traders, freelancers that are being hit the hardest. The system isn't just increasing income tax rates. They are attacking the lifestyle of modern professionals, effectively levying a modern life tax. Think about it. Being a higher rate taxpayer used to mean that you were doing exceptionally well. Now, it includes senior teachers, experienced nurses, middle managers, and pretty much anyone working in IT. The message is very clear. If you are earning anything outside of PAYE, you are essentially a target, and the penalties are going to get worse. Meanwhile, the number of working age people claiming benefits without having to look for work has gone from 1 million in 2021 to 4 million today. At the same time, the ultra wealthy people with multiple passports are leaving because they can afford to. Now, there's a reason why people are asking if it's time to leave, because the social contract does feel broken. You work hard trying to build something for yourself and your family, you pay taxes, and the system punishes you while giving others a free pass. The system seems to be balancing the books on the back of the middle class, hoping that these people are too invested in their UK lives to leave. The analysis shows that the top half of households will shoulder the bulk of tax rises. The budget is all about redistribution, moving the same pile of money from one pocket to another. It's not about making the pile bigger. If you are a high achiever, you most likely thrive on optimism. You thrive on the idea that next year will be better than this year. This optimism is being squashed. The system is basically telling the professional class, your best days are behind you, now pay up. The system has basically made a calculation. They believe that working people are distinct from the professional class. So if you earn a wage, you pay a mortgage and you commute to an office, and maybe you happen to be good at your job and you earn six figures, you are no longer a worker in their eyes. You're a source of revenue. They are betting that you will grumble and cancel your Sky Sports subscription, maybe switch from Waitrose to Tesco, but you will stay and you will pay. But here is a danger to the UK economy. The people that are being squeezed are the engine of growth. These are the consumers that drive the service economy. The super rich, well, they'll be fine. They're already in Monaco. Now, there are a number of destinations that are attracting those who are leaving the UK. This includes the UAE, where there is zero personal income tax, no capital gains tax, and no inheritance tax. A 100k salary in the UK will leave you with around £68,000 after tax. But in Dubai, you get to keep the entire 100k. That's fantastic. But here's the thing. Dubai isn't cheap. A decent apartment can set you back between 1,000 to 3,000 a month, and many landlords want the entire year upfront. There is no NHS, so expats must have health insurance. If you have a family and children, international school fees are a major and recurring expense, often one of the highest expenses after housing. So yes, whilst the promise of paradise in the sunshine awaits, there are a few things to think hard about before making a move. Let's look at some arguments for and against leaving the UK. Many expats find countries, especially in Southern Europe and the UAE, offer a more relaxed pace, shorter work weeks, and more time for leisure, which is the opposite of the UK's high-pressure environment. As mentioned, some countries offer zero taxation, which is a major benefit because you get to keep more of your hard-earned money. There is a significant increase in concerns about rising crime levels in some parts of the UK, which is also pushing people to seek safer environments elsewhere. Housing, healthcare, and general daily expenses can be significantly cheaper in places like Portugal, Spain, parts of Asia or Africa, which helps you stretch your salary even further and ultimately improves your overall lifestyle. If you are a skilled professional, you may have a higher earning potential, better benefits like private healthcare and access to new innovation and new markets, especially in locations that are known to be tech hubs or maybe even finance hubs. Escaping the UK's often grey and rainy weather for sunnier climates is a major draw. It can help improve mental and social well-being because it offers outdoor lifestyle advantages. Now let's talk about the reasons why you might consider not leaving the UK. The UK might be where your family roots are. Your parents are here, your friends are here, and your kids might be settled in school. Walking away from that has a cost that isn't just measured in monetary terms. And while places abroad might look tax-friendly on paper, that doesn't automatically mean they are cheaper. Once you add in things like private healthcare, schooling, higher rents, and everyday living costs, the savings often aren't as big as they might initially seem. Then there's the question of professional UK ties. If you run a UK business, if your clients are here, if your network is here, moving away can have real knock-on effects. Being in different time zones, missing out on opportunities, social gatherings, losing that local market knowledge, all of these things matter. Also, what looks attractive today may not last, and it's worth remembering that none of this is permanent. Tax systems, incentives, and residency rules can change, meaning you could end up constantly chasing the next best option. You need to think about how realistic that is for you in the long run. Whether you decide to leave or stay in the UK, assuming of course that you even have that option, is a deeply personal decision that depends on your circumstances, your family, your values, amongst other things. But there is a reason that 250,000 British people made that decision, and thousands more are seriously considering the same option right now. If things continue down this path, the question isn't really, should you leave? The question is, what would have to change to make you stay? And is that change actually going to happen, and will it be worth it? The way I see it is that the UK is running a very high-risk experiment right now. And the bottom line is, how much can you punish hard work and ambition before it stops showing up? I'll see you in the next video. Look after yourselves.